Hey, what's up? Zach here, and this is everything you need to know before you buy the brand new Nike GT Jump. And as its name would suggest, the GT Jump was designed to give you maximum jump height, jump force, and push-off force. But just because a shoe has a ton of air and different kind of technologies into it, doesn't mean that they'll all mesh together to make a really efficient shoe, which is why I'm really excited to test these out and see exactly what they can do. Now, starting with the uppers, the GT Jumps are mainly an upper of Nike Jump Wire. Now, Jump Wire looks a lot like the Leno Weave upper in the Jordan 36. However, as you can see on the magnifier, they aren't yarns per se, they're more TPU pieces. So it's one main strand of TPU with a reinforcement down it, and then one other horizontal strand that goes all the way through the shoe. And it's more of a melded upper, so they almost are melted together. So it does make it more of one single unit while still giving you all the breathability of a mesh or woven upper. But what gets me more excited than the Jump Wire as a foot doctor is definitely the shoelace eyelets. As you can see here, they are integrated into the uppers, but they also come down into these cables that go into the strobo board. They're sewn right into there. And what I like about that is you're getting the integrated shoelace eyelets, which give you a really nice, secure feeling tie down. Then you're also getting these wires, which also gives you that much more layer of security. So when you're going side to side, these will engage before the rest of the uppers engage, which do give you a lot more side to side stability. And on the upper durability tests with a Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, the toe box did surprisingly well, a lot better than I thought it would. It did not get through the upper, which I really thought it was just gonna punch right through, but it didn't. So that was a really pleasant surprise. Now, when I did the durability test on this Jump Wire, the vertical strands did a lot better than the horizontal strands did for some reason. It did not get through it. However, you can tell the Dremel was about to bite through that. However, unless your opponent is wearing sandpaper on the toe box of their shoe, I don't think you're gonna have any problems with durability on the Jump Wire anytime soon. Now, getting into the midsole teardown, I think this is where most people are really interested in this shoe. Number one, you've got a zoom strobo unit going across the whole length of the shoe. Number two, though, you have this Pebex plate connecting the rear foot zoom unit and the forefoot zoom turbo unit, and that is also connected to this jump frame around the outside of the shoe, which I will get to in a minute. But what's really interesting about that Pebex plate, now, number one, Pebex is a plastic substitute. It has been shown to give you a little bit more energy return, a little bit more push-off force, as we've seen with some other shoes. However, sometimes Pebex can be really uncomfortable because it can be a little bit stiffer. Now, in previous Nike shoes like the GP Turbo, which uses a full-length Pebex plate, they made that really thin and put it underneath a airbag and full-length zoom unit, so you really didn't feel it very much, and it was pretty flexible. In this shoe, however, in the GT Jump, the Pebex plate right above it is this little foam pad underneath the zoom strobo, but in front of the Pebex plate. And what that does is it just gives you a little bit more forgiveness underneath your arch. So your arch isn't getting dug into by that Pebex plate. It kind of has a little bit of a buffer between it, which I really like for comfort. Another little neat surprise I found is there actually is more Pebex right here under the ball of the foot. And I do like that because when you're coming down on the balls of your foot, you actually do have something solid here underneath the zoom turbo unit, which does give the shoe just a little bit more rigidity when you're kind of coming down on the balls of your foot for that next push-off step. And of course, as you come around the shoe, that Pebex comes all the way up and creates this Nike jump frame, which goes all the way from the back heel all the way up here into the junction of the mid and forefoot. Now, this is supposed to give you a little bit more jump force without creating a lot of discomfort, and it's also meant to give you a lot of push-off and jump force from different positions that your foot might be in on the court. Say you're tilting one way or the other, or you're just on one foot or the other, or just some part of your shoe is touching the court. It's supposed to give you a little more energy return coming back to forth. Now, when I tested this out on the suicide test, I was pleasantly surprised because, as you see, the forefoot is pretty streamlined, doesn't really have a really aggressive lateral flange for stability. So I kind of assumed the shoe would kind of be a little bit wobbly. However, I was able to take turns pretty darn fast in this shoe, and I did notice as soon as I would stop, pivot, and move the other direction, this shoe engaged really quick. And number one, yeah, there's a zoom turbo unit in the forefoot, but number two, it's got this housing all around the shoe. So no matter where you are in space or how extreme the pivot is when you're turning, this shoe can really pick speed up really fast from any position, or how much inertia you have pushing through the shoe. This frame, because it's connected all the way underneath the shoe, combined with that upper that's really secure, and gives you a lot more confidence on turns than you would think the shoe would give you. And even though I was really impressed with how quickly this shoe can pick up speed, how fast this shoe gets once you put some energy into it was also a really pleasant surprise, because I noticed when I was on straightaways, as soon as I got a couple strides in these shoes, the energy return just got better and better and better. So it kind of combined the best of some shoes that give you more energy the more you put into it, and shoes that are really good from a dead stop or standing position. And speaking of energy from a standing position, if you look at the jump height test, 37.5 centimeters, which blows away pretty much every other shoe we've tested recently. And number one, yeah, it does have a lot of zoom in this shoe, so there is a lot of bounciness in it. However, the real reason this shoe gets that much jump height is because of the Pebex, and it's because of the shank. Remember, you need something to gather all that energy, to store all that potential energy and turn it into kinetic energy. Otherwise, it's just air. I mean, these zoom units don't do much just by themselves. They have to be connected to something that can harness all that potential energy and then release it as kinetic energy. And I think these shoes do it better than just about every other shoe out there, including the Jordan 36 and LeBron 19. But I think kind of the unsung hero of this shoe is the outsole tread. If you look, it is just a standard herringbone all the way from the heel to forefoot. However, it is variable depth herringbone, which I really like. It gets chunkier as you get to the forefoot, and it does get more shallow as you get into the midfoot. Now, the other thing, what happens is there is a little tread bridge that goes on the lateral side of the shoe. And what I really like about this is it does connect the rear foot and forefoot, giving you a lot more energy return, remember, because the whole shoe is going to move as one unit now. However, it is just on the lateral side of the shoe. Medially, it's not connected, so you are getting a little bit more flexibility on the medial side, which does make these shoes a little bit more nimble than something, say, like the Jordan 36 or the Jordan 35, where that tread bridge connects the entire shoe. And on the outsole durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, a little bit over 1 millimeter of damage, not quite 2 millimeters. Now, this is a 3 millimeter tread depth, varying all the way down to about a 0.5 millimeter tread depth. So these aren't going to be the most durable shoes for outdoor use. But in terms of the playability profile of the GT jumps, it was actually pretty surprising to me. Now, yes, they do have a lot of jump force in them. However, I think the biggest use case of these shoes is number one, the reaction time in them, and number two, the grip, because the outsole tread, either on a hard court or a hard wood court, gripped just better than just about any other shoe that I've used this year. I think number one, it's the variable depth herringbone. You can really grab in multiple places. Number two is just the rubber compound. It is a little more tacky. It does give you a little better grip. But number three, this jump frame, which Nike, advertises as something that's going to give you more jump height, more lift off the ground. However, I found that the jump frame did better in terms of giving you a better reaction time, better quick moving from sidestepping, or giving you a little bit more nimble and fast-paced footwork when your foot is still on the ground. I noticed with these, when I was trying to rebound my own misses on the basketball, I was able to get to that rebound a lot quicker in these shoes than most other shoes I've tried this year. And that's just because as soon as I saw where the ball was going to go and my muscles engaged, my leg and my foot, this shoe really kind of did a lot of the work for me getting to the ball. Number two, the shoe picks up speed a lot faster than other shoes like I talked about. And then you're able to kind of move the shoe around wherever you want, and plus get a really good grip on the court. So I really find that these shoes are probably the best rebounding type shoes out there made right now. And that was really exciting for someone like me who misses a lot of baskets. And so I'm constantly trying to get my own rebounds. And I just found that this shoe was really great for that. I could just make the shoe kind of do whatever I wanted, or get myself out of really awkward positions in the shoe, or especially when I was kind of on one foot, kind of stopping and trying to go the other direction. The shoe really did give me a lot of push-off force for that too. So yes, you can get a little bit more height on these shoes when you're jumping. However, I found that this shoe was much better in terms of giving you more quick reaction time and quicker speed to the ball when you're still on the ground. And so I really think if you are someone that plays really deep in the paint, if you're really going for a lot of rebounds, I do think this shoe could be a real asset for you, because you will be able to make really quick turnarounds and really quick decisions with the ball, and the shoe will kind of do what you want it to do. The shoe is also really good for a defensive player, because you can get so much jump height just from static stance in these shoes. And number two, you can really hold your ground in these shoes, especially when you are trying to hold a position, or when you're trying to defend a position, or when you're trying to go up to block a shot. Now, in terms of fit, the GT jump is pretty tapered here in the forefoot. So if you are a narrow or medium foot, these are going to fit you just fine. If you are a 2E, I would go up that half size for sure. And if you are above a 2E, you may want to consider going up a full size. Unless you like a snug fit, then I think a half size would be fine. Number two, these are going to fit a flat and high arch foot. I did find that when I put a pair of orthotics in these, they were really solid as a rock. I didn't feel that really comfy, cushy zoom unit on the Strobo board. However, if you're looking for something for like max arch support and max stability, I think that the GT Jumps plus an orthotic is a pretty decent setup. And the one other hidden gem in the GT Jumps that probably won't get a lot of hype, however, it is a really nice touch and really nice to see as a foot doctor, is that Nike did put an extra deep heel cup here in the removable insole. Now that seems like minutia, but that does hold your foot in a lot better in these shoes versus something else, a really flimsy or wimpy removable insole. And so with these, you are just going to get that much more of a locked in feel, and that can make a big difference if you're using these for really high level competitive basketball. And just as kind of a confession, I really was ready to hate these shoes sight unseen when I first bought them, just because they've been hyped for so long and Nike just threw so much tech into this shoe that I kind of was getting the feeling that Nike was just throwing tech in to sell you tech. However, whoever engineered this shoe and designed it really did take their time to make sure that all these elements of Nike technology worked well together and made this shoe move really fluidly. I don't think that this shoe is great for super nimble movement. I don't think you're going to be able to play in these like you do in the Curry Flow line. However, if you're looking for something for a very stout basketball shoe, something that's really going to give you a lot of sturdy protection of your foot, and just something you can really kind of push other people around in, I do think this is a great pickup. But I would love to hear what your thoughts are on the GT Jumps. Is this a type of shoe that you would like to play in, or are you looking for something more nimble and a little bit lighter weight under your foot? Let me know in the comments down below. And remember, this is not the only heavyweight Nike to be released recently, so if you want to see my review and teardown of the LeBron 19, make sure you click into this video up above and subscribe down below. Respect your rubber and foam and air and plastic substitutes. I'll see you in the next video.